22nd of November 1968. The year of 1968 saw an unprecedented wave of civil unrest in lots of countries, notably France, Czechoslovakia, West Germany, Northern Ireland, Brazil, Mexico, and the United States of America. The month of May in Paris is widely viewed as the most photogenic of all of these youth revolts. The City of Light was in flames. The Parisian lads had obviously got envious of the girls wigging out over the Beatles when they had played with Sylvia Vartan at the Paris Olympia 4 years before, and they conjured up their own testosterone-fueled revolution. In response to the Paris upheavals, the Beatles converged on Kinfaus, George Harrison's palace in Esher, Surrey, and they recorded demos for what would then be known as the 9th LP, officially entitled The Beatles when it was released, better known thereafter as The White Album. The LP kicks off with Back in the USSR, as if you didn't know that. And this is a tune that has been blamed widely for the collapse of the Soviet Union. It climaxes, the LP that is, not the Soviet Union, with the sonic assault that is known as Revolution Number 9, the longest and worst tune in the entire Beatles canon, assuming that it is a tune. Many reasons have been postulated for the use of a plain white cover for the album. Maybe it was a gesture of peace, surrender, or mourning. The minimalist masterpiece. As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. The minimalist masterpiece is generally regarded as being in the public domain, as it is almost impossible for designers to avoid ripping off at some point during the design process. All record covers usually begin as a plain white square. Consequently, the revolutionary design by pop artist Richard Hamilton, who put a lot of work into it, is generally considered in the public domain. I said that before, I got confused by that calculator. Bear with me. Just as well, the record cover was directly appropriated by TMOQ Records a few months later when they issued Bob Dylan's Great White Wonder double LP recording, identical in its appearance to the White Album, apart from the fact that he didn't have any writing on it whatsoever. Upon its release on the 22nd of November 1968, which was curiously enough 5 years to the day when Doctor Who was first broadcast and JFK was shot in the head, and Dr. Strangelove was first shown to the test audience. I told you about all this earlier on. It received mixed reviews in the media and generally wasn't regarded that well, but it didn't matter because coming out Yellow Submarine, same business, that got panned, everybody loved it. Same with the White Album, went over bananas. Anyway, especially in the USA. Despite the accolades, a lot of Beatles fans didn't take the proclivities quite as far as Charles Manson did. He persuaded members of his entourage to commit murders, encouraged by the idea that the album was an apocalyptic message predicting a prolonged race war, and it justified the murder of wealthy people. Manson's alleged helter-skelter hypothesis was a hybrid of the Beatles' mid-period canon mixed with a bit of the Book of Revelations, the Beatles being the locusts from the Book of Revelations, you understand? Harbingers of an apocalyptic conflict between people who just happen to have different skin tones. Several of Manson's followers, and he himself, were convicted of some murders that happened in mid-1969. And it was claimed that these murders had been committed to inspire people to even more extreme acts and to immortalize the eschaton. And in fact, it was not until the late 1980s that Manson would definitively clarify his own role in the events. Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Hmm? Do you feel wolf, bub, rough, vantage, bramage, gefranish, boosh, pajanage, booch, bajoob, bear ramage, jiggle, viggle, geeble, bajoogle, bajab, gvlaggle, viggle, juggle, vidich, viggle, vital, fucking